What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fright School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So the Starfield reviews from the players are starting to drop in mediums that we can actually trust the source of these reviews for the most part. Now, I make this distinction because, like I said, reviews, when it comes to a lot of these reviewers, are dead to me. The reviews that I take into account are those of people who have played the game, because many of them have proof of playtime and they have a lot of valid reasonings as to why it is that they either enjoyed or did not like the game. Now, one really interesting thing is, now that many people are on the side of Starfield and they've seen that Metacritic scores can be convoluted, many people are now backing away from Metacritic. I remember when Gotham Knights came out and I told people you cannot hold these Metacritic scores. A lot of them said I'm picking and choosing, but I guess whatever is good for the Starfield is good for the Gotham Knights, because if you think about the way Metacritic is, there really is no proof that a lot of people who are reviewing those games there have played them. So games like The Last of Us Part 2, even if I've never played it, I know when I got to read some of the reviews and the user scores, some people just went there to bomb the game without having played it. That's when I started to suspect that platform. But where we can find good solid Starfield reviews are more than likely on platforms like the Xbox platform and Steam. So the Steam reviews are out, and right now Starfield is showing that the reviewers are ranking it in a mostly positive light. So Gotham Knights here from back in the day has an overall 69% favorability in its user score, and in the last or more recent reviews, that's where the review scores really did drop. About 138 users came in and their favorability was low. But if you look at a game like Starfield and you look at, say, what that game right now is actually doing in terms of review scores, a lot of people are ranking the game very positive. In fact, right now on Steam, because the game is basically, out on PC, you will see that out of the 3,000 reviews available, they're ranking at very positive. However, what we're going to do in a video like this is we're going to read the negative reviews, because now we can actually see playtime of a lot of the folk. Because there are some people who played the game for 5 hours, according to some reports. There was another person, I don't know if they're a YouTuber or a streamer, they played the game for 16 hours, they ran through the main game, and then they said the game sucked. But, again, those are opinions of other users, and we can only take them for what they're worth. But here we can really see people put in the work when they're putting in their reviews. So let's go ahead and take a look. So 55 hours, 62 hours, 21 hours, 36 hours, a lot of pre-release people, 42 hours. And there's someone here who actually had a negative review after 47 hours. And that is the review that I wanted to highlight here so that we can actually go ahead and read that. Pardon the text, it may be a little small, but I will go ahead and read it. I tried to do a magnifying thing with Windows. Let's see if that's actually going to work in this scenario. That way, you can probably see a little bit of what, the reviews actually say. So Steam, let's see if it's going to work out for us here. All right, there we go. This is the review. I kind of try to blow it up a little bit for you guys. So this person after 47 and, 0.1 hours says 6 out of 10, 47 hours played. If I had to rank this game against other Bethesda RPGs, this one will be the last one on the list. It is a beautiful looking game on the surface. Quest choices have little impact, main characters lack depth, and the writing is comparable to the worst of these newer TV shows and movies. I don't think so. I don't think it's the greatest writing ever, but I don't think it's new movie TV show level. Okay, calm down, bro, because new TV show level is actually quite bad. Like, it's super trash. So I think maybe this person may have just not had enough tolerance, but I understand. I get what they mean in that regard. Combat is dull and buggy, idiotic enemy and AI companion. People have talked about the AI companion. I don't really feel that, issue with them, but it is what it is. And it says I got an OP laser weapon that dropped at level 7 and I've steamrolled every combat scenario, still using the weapon at level 24. I don't think the RPG shooting elements really are consequential in a sense, but I wasn't expecting the Division 2 slash type of shooting mechanics in this game. So I guess when I took like my level, I have like this level something weapon and I was shooting like level 15 creatures in some random planet that I went to. They were just, they were falling apart because the gun was actually quite good. But again, it is what it is. Exploration, most XP comes from exploration, which loses its novelty after just a few planets. That is your take. I'm a space nerd, so when I go to a new planet, I'm like, whoa, this is just so cool. I've been in the same cave on a dozen different planets and seen the same 4 creatures on all the inhabitable planets. No maps. Okay, this is procedural generation that people talked about. I've gone to look into procedural generation and all that, and I will probably do my best to make a video on that, where Bethesda actually, or their developers, made a very grave error in their procedural generation, is that they didn't add a lot of variation. That really did them in, but I don't necessarily know how else you would have varied a lot of the content to make it look fresh whenever you reach the new planet. I think that variation got them good in the mission structure and the way they set up things. They should have just taken, in my opinion anyways, a lighthearted approach with how much they even put out there in terms of, content outside of the main mission and exploration. This would have probably helped a little bit. For instance, they could have used the Elden Ring paradigm. Elden Ring had a lot of rehashed enemy types and enemy classes, but just because there were just so many different enemy classes, whenever you saw them being represented, it didn't necessarily feel samey to you. Dungeons, most of the dungeons were very similar in Elden Ring, but they had some depth to them and some waviness where, you could be going and this looks familiar. And then it's like, oh, no, it's not as familiar as I think. Those little elements could have added a little bit of a touch to those aspects. So I get what they're saying in this category. When they said no maps, it's uncharted territory. I think it gives it that feel. I don't expect to have maps in space. You do have light maps, so maybe you're looking for kind of more detailed hand-holdy maps, but I don't necessarily agree that that is something that, should be bothersome. Skills. Some of the skills, even after allocating skill points, are broken and buggy. Stealth, fitness, etc. Crafting seems pretty unintuitive. Why aren't spools of wire or circuit boards usable? Good question. I haven't gotten too far in there. Base building, buggy logistics make things difficult. The annoying clipping of certain items, both visually and interactively. If you're really looking for a space game and don't care about graphics, Starbound, basically a fracking universe mod, is Starfield with Terraria art style. Want to explore and build bases? No Man's Sky does this better. Want to build a factory? Factorio and Satisfactory are great. Space engineers, if you want to get really technical, want a second full-time job in a space simulation and don't mind playing online with other people, try EVE Online. Want a fun and engaging story similar to old school Bethesda games, play Outer Worlds. Fair review. I think this is a very fair review. They have spent the time, they've spent the effort, and this is somebody who probably plays a whole bunch of games, on here. These are games that I don't touch. All these games that were listed, these are really, really like hardcore niche games for a specific part of the community. So I really do enjoy hearing opinions of people who've actually played the very best of what Bethesda was trying to pull off with Starfield. Overall, Starfield has a broad aspect to it. It's a very generalist type game. I don't know exactly what other Bethesda games look like when it comes to their world building and their story and so on and so forth. I haven't played them. This is the first Bethesda game I've played more than 4 hours of or 3 hours of. So I don't really know what to expect in those other games when it comes to that. Because if you talk about the shooting and the RPG mechanics and the weapons and so on and so forth, I mean, you have procedurally generated guns in Borderlands that feel intuitive and fun. So you can do procedural generation very well. That is Starfield's biggest weakness, in my opinion, when it comes to, doing the procedurally generated worlds, is that they didn't add a lot of variation, and you're seeing it even in the negative reviews. And I wanted to focus on the negative reviews because specifically it's easy for you to get carried away when you're looking at, the reviews are all great. No. There will be negative reviews. There's no way everything's all fine and dandy. But the percentage right now, and the reviews have actually gone up to, about 4,000 reviews just from the time I clicked this video. So you guys saw it was about 3,000, and more people are adding their reviews, and there seems to be a lot more positivity. So, not even up to 1/4 or not even up to 25% in that regard. So it's overall good news for the game as we see things, being put into perspective. Let's look for another really advanced, like this is 4.6 hours on record. Maybe that's just you. I'm not going to really put too much, stock in this. 13 hours. Wait for a sale, not worth the asking price. Spend money on Baldur's Gate 3. I refunded Baldur's Gate 3 because it's not really my style of game. It's a CRPG, not really into it. So this is better for me in the RPG sense. So they may like a CRPG. I prefer more of a different kind of RPG. I played the Division 2. Those are my RPG, fixations. Elden Ring, broad open world games. Deep mechanics here and there, but I haven't seen anything really deep in Starfield other than world immersion in a sense. It's kind of weird how they do it in Starfield. That kind of makes you just go, this is a really fun casual game, and so on and so forth. So this person says, 38 hours. My general immersion of the game is that the early game needs a lot of work. Very little explained to you, and the bits that get logged behind quests that you can miss. I went in with the mentality of wanting to be a trade-focused build. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, this is actually hitting home for me. I cannot sell stuff, bro. I can't find anywhere to sell things easily. It's so hard before I can figure out, okay, where am I gonna go trade? Because I want to have like an economy going with the stuff that I'm able to pick up and hoard, but I can't really find where to actually, trade them. I can't find a good way to actually transport items. But again, the mechanics in this game don't seem to have that depth that I'm looking for. And hence why I said the game is such a broad game, and you'd have to play it from that perspective. You got to go on the lateral. If you want to go the vertical with Starfield, I think that's probably where you're going to have the disappointment. Let's keep reading though. As I've done in other games like Elite Dangerous and Star Sector. Haven't heard of these. I've heard of Elite Dangerous before. Star Sector, never heard of them. Seems like another niche game that, people that love these kinds of games, usually are into. As I've done in other games, but ended ditching the idea after realizing the space combat was broken. Practical trade ships require way more capital than you can possibly generate early on, and don't pay anywhere near as well as other activities, that is looting. There are also no tutorials in the way of shipbuilding, general trading, or anything regarding smuggling. I kind of agree. I then decided to try my hand on exploration, spend the next 48 hours trying to survey one planet. It was there I learned that without massive investment into survey and mobility skills, planet surveying is miserable, time-consuming work that, again, doesn't pay anywhere near as well as looting. So basically, looting is the way to go. I guess this is also people looking for the vertical in Starfield, and it's just not there. So overall, the game is too slow. Force Paragon characters are annoying, lots of bugs, some game breaking. I haven't experienced any game breaking bugs just yet. I think I'm about maybe 10, 12 hours in or so. Some redeeming moments in the latter half of the game and New Game Plus, but for now it's a soft pass until the jank is stamped out and vehicles are added in. Come back a few months to a year, I'd say. All right, this is the review that we just read. So these, in my opinion, seem to be fair reviews. Once you see somebody who jumps into the game and is able to just go back and say, this is what I'm looking for in this, I'm usually keen on reading reviews like this. So these are the reviews that you can trust, not just reviews that are just saying all the planets are empty. I've seen some of those sentiments, and I'm like, no, don't bring in the PlayStation fanboyism. Come to this game as a Bethesda aficionado, explorer, or fan, and I think we can actually get a lot out of you in regard to, say, the reviews. We can also take some time to look at the positive reviews as well, because yes, like I said, you want to look at the negative reviews to kind of get a good balance. And in the positive reviews, we also want to look at, say, big, reviews like 56 hours in. What are these people saying? To put it bluntly, Starfield space travel is inferior to No Man's Sky or Elite Dangerous. If you're looking for a game where you can live in your ship, chill with your crew as you drift towards the next destination, Starfield will not fulfill your dreams. Specifically what it is that I'm talking about. The game doesn't seem to have that vertical in terms of depth, but it seems to have that lateral, like the breadth is, just wide. Starfield says space simply used as a backdrop for something much bigger than Bethesda has ever done before. That's not to say space travel isn't important. It's very important, but most of the time, space is used as a means of getting from one planet to another via fast travel or warping. Space is just a loading screen, or is it? You might ask, does anything happen in space since it's just a loading screen? The answer is actually yes, very often. During warps, the game will run a check of your route to see if you will run into any random events. If so, you'll be sent out of the loading screen and back into space. I've actually had 2 interactions while I was actually trying to move across space, and they were quite interesting. One of them was very funny. I was playing it on, because I have the Xbox version, which is play a Microsoft Store version, which is play anywhere, so I can sit on my couch and play. And I had this interaction that I thought, okay, that was very cool as an interaction, so I really did enjoy that. In my opinion, this simply cuts out all the slow moments of space travel and highlights the fun parts. Although there's a catch. To trigger the route check, you will have to already be in space. Make sure you take off in your ship whenever you want to fast travel. In case you forget to do so, random events can still happen, but only the destination of your warp. That's pretty interesting. RPG is back, but different. Starfield is a game that arguably outshines previous Bethesda titles. The scale is larger with no sacrifices to the mechanics that have been in the past. I haven't played the past Bethesda games, so I don't know. Bethesda simplified decision-making and RPG elements in favor of improving the gunplay, which leaves the same feeling more like an adventure shooter than an RPG. Which my suspicions have basically are being confirmed, even with the negative and the positive reviews. Even Skyrim could be argued, with the removal of leveling stats, reduce how much you could create your perfect character to roleplay as. In Starfield, stats attributes do not come back, but in its place is an interesting return to the RPG roots. Who you are matters. In the beginning, I don't really know. This is a lot. The rest of the game, gunplay, crafting, and more. Start with space exploration. It's not perfect, yes, but it's a Bethesda game through and through. Beautiful environments, fantastic immersion, storytelling, fulfilling the fantasy of living in another universe, especially in space. Starfield has likely become my favorite Bethesda title of all time. It can do that to you. For some strange reason, it could. I find it hard to come back to older Fallout games. The Elder Scrolls games. Bethesda has restored my trust in them, even after launch. State of Fallout 76 and the reduction of RPG elements in Fallout 4. I look forward to future updates, the DLC, and the Elder Scrolls 6. I hope you can play Starfield, come to your own conclusions, and enjoy the same things I was able to, instead of getting caught up in the hate bandwagon and the game undeservingly gets, for having inferior space travel to other games. So someone with an open-minded, approach to things. And so I recommend that you come here and you read your review type and you look at, say, the playtime, because you can always come here and look at over 10-hour, playtime reviews to be able to kind of like simmer it down so that you can see people who've actually gotten into the game. That way you don't have to worry about, okay, am I going to be wasting my time? You know exactly what it is your pros and cons are. These are reviews that you can actually trust. As we've seen, a lot of the reviewers are playing games. A lot of the, gaming outlets are posting. Like Okami Games made this one post on Twitter. It was actually very interesting. He made the post and said something along the lines of, PC Gamer posting like 20 times how they gave Starfield, what was it? They gave Starfield a 7 out of 10. And they put the same post up multiple different times. It was quite weird. And I've never seen anything like it before. Here, let me show you guys. This was actually really weird what it is that this outlet was doing. They went ahead and said, GameSpot in 2022, this is what Okami Games says. He's being tongue-in-cheek here. Modern Warfare is the most advanced Call of Duty game ever. GameSpot in 2023, we gave it a 7 out of 10. Okay, then he posts like 4 different photos, and you will see all of them. They all look like it's the same. We gave it a 7 out of 10, but look at the dates. September 4th, September 3rd, September 1st, and August 31st. They are openly announcing we gave it a 7 out of 10 because I think they're using it to jive. Yes, come and fight on our content. We first got 500,000 views on here. Then we got 700 and, something, almost 1 million views. Then we got 100,000 views, and we're just pushing for more engagement because they understand that these scores are polarizing. This is why reviews, once again, are dead when it comes to the mainstream reviewers for the most part. They're only like 2 or 3 that I would even bother considering, and I usually patronize them. Mortismo Gaming is one of them. ACG, yeah, you're still, in the good books for now, but I understand, you know how to navigate. So you're a wise, individual. So you know how to move around. So that's pretty smart of you. And then for the most part, a lot of the outlets, I'm not really paying attention. I go to user reviews on platforms where the games are being played, where I can see their playtime, because it really does help me make better decisions. Or I just try the game out by myself, like I did with Starfield, before I started to actually go ahead and read the reviews, because now I've already formed my opinion so far, and the reviews are just there to either maybe even back up what it is that I perceive from the game, or at least maybe even challenge what I think I perceive and help me think about the game in a different way. But this is my video on the review so far. You can go and look at the reviews as they continue to go. Seems the trend is saying that Starfield is receiving a lot of favorability from a lot of players. So we'll see how it all lands after everything is going. May become a 70% on Steam. You never know. Like Gotham Knights was sitting at like a 73% on Steam, and then when it went on sale, a bunch of new people showed up, and most of the reviews are the exact same as those who had the negative reviews. So, a 69%, almost 70% is actually, in my opinion, still fair for a game that really shocked a lot of people. And Starfield, I won't be surprised if it actually had, say, at the end of the day, like an 80-something%, which is where the game actually does sit overall with the dynamic of Bethesda fans and even maybe new fans in the, in the ecosystem. So thanks so much for watching. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.